my time and serve my sentence. Dress me up and watch me die. If it feels good, tastes good, it must be mine. Dynasty decapitated, you just might see a ghost tonight. And if you don't know now, you know. I'm taking back the crown. I'm all dressed up and naked. I see what's mine and take it.
Oh, that's the way you start a show right there. Is there something wrong? Is there something in my teeth? I'm just making sure. No, okay. So we're good. So the reason I'm wearing this today is not only so I sound like I'm the evil version of Darth Vader from The Predator, but my guest today, I had a feeling that the mask would be present, so I went ahead and saved mine to the side. Didn't let him know either. So I've been seeing him laughing in the screen down below, even though I can't see his face because it's covered with his mask. But hey, hell of a show. We are back. We're going to have a great show today. It's going to be very different, as you can tell. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. We'll go over some information, find out a little bit more about this creator and what's going on, and find out more about the man behind the mask. Oh, yeah. See the foreshadowing there? I know what I'm doing. All right. Before we get going too far, this can't be the only pretty face you see up here. Let's go ahead and bring my guest up here. Here is Tim Ingram.
I love the mask.
You know, I will say I keep this on hand at all times because some of the hospitals still say you have to wear a mask. And this is N95 regulated. So whenever they say something, I simply pull it up, show them the filter on there, and I'm like, I'm in compliance.
At least they let you in with yours. I can't even get in. I can't go nowhere with mine.
Man, it is great to have you back on the show. I've been looking forward to this, talking to you about some of your stuff that you're working on. First of all, before we get going too far into the meat and potatoes of everything, go ahead and give us the elevator pitch of who you are, where to find you, and what you do.
I am Tim Ingram. I am the writer and creator of Hell Player. It is a horror-based comic out of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm also the co-owner of Lost Hope Entertainment, which is my content creation for YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. We do it all right now. Right now, website's in development, so best place to find me would be on Facebook. It's either Tim Ingram or Lost Hope Entertainment. And same thing for on Instagram.
There you go. Excellent. So, I mean, you got some works going on, like you said, with the website you're trying to build up. So you're trying to get some more foundation underneath there and then open that and have some new and different stuff on there, I would imagine.
Yeah. It's really just trying to work more with the content creation and trying to bring everything under one thing, because I stream video games, my girl streams. My partner, Reggie, he has his own production company now, so he's doing his own thing. And it's all of us are just kind of snowballing everything together. And it's just a way to get everybody like centered. And this way we can start doing more stuff. Like, I really want to, at some point, start doing more merchandising and stuff like that.
Awesome. I would definitely look forward to that. Now, you've worked on, you've done quite a few covers that you've worked on. You do some prints. You have some amazing work that you do. I've got a few examples we're going to kind of show as we're going along. But go ahead and talk about some of the things that you've worked on. First thing I want to bring up is I love the logo.
I am extremely blessed with the people that I know here in Cleveland. That is actually by Rod Taylor. He is a tattoo artist here. He also did my tarot card cover. He's a really good friend of mine, and he completely designed that. Like, I just say, hey, man, I need a logo. Let's work on something, and this is what he sent me. Like, the fact that, like, the mask has become so synonymous, like, it's really funny how quickly the mask becomes known before I do. Like, I'll take the mask off and walk around shows to, like, promoters and stuff that I know, and they'll be like, yeah, you sound familiar. Then they'll see me later on with the mask around my neck. Oh, yeah, dude, how are you? I'm so sorry.
You can get away with so much out there because nobody knows who you are. And then you put the mask on and they're like, oh, no, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Well, I mean, it works and it doesn't, because whenever we go to shows, Reggie's usually in the character that I designed for him. That's going to be coming in issue 4 of Hell Player. And so once everybody sees everybody knows you're gonna. If you see the green guy, and you see the big dude that's always with him, even without the mask, they're like, "Oh, okay, that's Tim."
Now you mentioned Hellplayer because I've actually got, there is a cover for issue number 2 right there. And you said that you're working on issue number 3 currently, correct?
We're working on getting issue 3 printed.
Okay.
So issue 3 is actually going to print soon. We have some really awesome covers. We did another horror cover. Malice's daughter makes her cover debut for Villain Archives with issue 3. And I've already, we got issue 4 already in post production.
Wow. Now, I will say, because I actually have issue number 1. I got that one from you. And it's, how do I explain this? I'm trying to do it without giving away spoilers, of course, but it's a way that you can see the hero world from a con's perspective, like a convention perspective, but from the true nature of a hero. That's the best way I can explain what you're trying to show off in there, and it works. It may sound like it's too complex to do anything in there, but whenever you actually read it, it is a page turner. I want to let everybody know. So you definitely want to take a look at this and see what he's got going on this one. But Hellplayer is definitely a good one to pick up.
I appreciate that a lot because I'm usually the hardest critic of my own work, and I really am. And it's really funny that you call Maria, the main character, a hero, because I just see her as a girl who had a really bad week. And wait till you see issue 3, and you see how bad this week got to where she becomes. Because the saying of that book really is, she cried, so they died. Wow. The fact that you're calling her a hero, it loosely.
Oh, yeah.
If I can put it that way, the whole idea of the book for me was always the old school horror films.
Oh yeah.
It's really in that aspect of Carrie. And
well,
that's probably
exactly.
That's probably the best way I can put it.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, because I was just fixing to say Carrie. I had my mouth open to say it, but you couldn't tell because it's always open right now. But Carrie is exactly what I thought about, because even though she was the quote unquote villain, she was also the quote unquote hero, because she got the revenge back on those who could not have anything done to them because they were untouchable. It's a very thin gray line that they walked back then that I haven't seen many successfully walk the right way. And then with yours, it's like, whoa, you're right there. You could teeter off of either side. Nobody knows which way you're going to go, so they have to pay attention to how the story's going.
Yeah, I got really lucky again. My interior artist Greg, and especially with issue 3, there was something that I wrote that I wasn't intentionally going to take too far, and then he interpreted how I wrote it. And when I seen his artwork, we had a whole conversation with I had with a group of people. I actually went outside of my normal, hey, what do you guys think? And they're like, no, you got to leave it in. And when you see issue 3 and you see what scene I'm talking about, you'll understand it. We officially now will earn our parental advisory that's on my table. And that's one thing I really want to say out there. This is a horror book. This is not meant, if you're going to buy it for your kids, understand that you're buying them the book Carrie.
Right.
This is something that I want put out there, because and that's one of the weirdest things, because parents do buy my book for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm I make sure to point out that I have a complete parental advisory next to me. But no, Hellplayers it's a fun book. I just really think that like you said, that gray line really needs to be talked about a little bit more. And bullying, that's a huge oversight in my book, is bullying.
Yeah.
And we all went through it. And I've lost friends to this, and you always hear about it. And I just think it was something that just needed to be brought back.
Exactly. And I commend you on that, because it's something that I'm trying to figure out the way to dance around this the right way, because I don't want to upset the Karens. But it's one of those things that it can be handled with kid gloves, or it can be thrown out there in the open, depending upon how it is handled from there. I think too many people throw it directly out there, and they're like, it happens, you just need to fight back on what you're doing, or just step away. And there's a black or white answer to that. There isn't. There's always gray area. There's always something going on that's in there. Plus, you take us in the mindset of not only the one being bullied, but the ones bullying. And so it really changes the playing field whenever you read the book on how things are going. And I enjoy that.
I do appreciate that. After the show, you gotta message me so I can get you issue 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Definitely want to do that. Now we're talking about Help Player, which we see over here as well. Again, and I love that homage. And then you've got Mora, which has got my attention because, I mean, Demon Phil. I like all the dark stuff, so that right there catches my attention. What is Mora about?
Okay, so Mora is a book that I was invited to co-write, which I want to say a huge shout out to Richard Jones III. This is his book. This is this is an idea he had that he told me since he was 16. I can't really, the best way I could say this is it's like Seven meets Sin City. It does have there is a demon in it, but it is going to end up being, and we do touch a lot of touchy subjects in that book. I am issue 1 of that book, and issue 2 is not this book is not for the faint of heart because it is in that style of Sin City. And that's actually going to Kickstarter on Halloween. Yeah. And Rich and me have been doing a lot of talking, and there's a lot of great ideas and a lot of people that we're going to be contacting. He's actually, I'm going to give him a huge shout out. He's actually at the Memphis convention right now on his way there, which I do wish I could have been there with him, but I have my obligations up here. But yeah, that book is so if the best way I can say this, Hell Player is my WB book. That is my HBO Max book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the jump in that is dramatic, and it's gonna the artwork that he's putting together for that, and the story, the way we got it mapped out, is phenomenal. That is such a good book and such a fun book to write, and it is I'm happy because it's challenging me, and it's actually gonna, once you do something like a project like that, it affects everything you do. Mm-hmm. I'm even looking at Hell Player, okay, I kind of been doing you with kid gloves. Like I said, this is my WB book. And going forward after issue 4, it's because Hell Player is only going to be it's only 9 or 10 issues. Yeah. Hell Player was never meant to be a long series because it's leading into something else. And Mora is helping me as a writer develop where I wanted to go and how dark and how deep I want to go.
Nice.
But Mora is such a fun book. It is going to blow everyone away. Especially the first 2 issues. Issue 1's going to hit, and people are just going to really sit back and what?
So is it going to be issue 1 and 2 that are coming out Halloween, or just 1?
Issue 1. Issue 2 is issue 2. We're currently editing and working on we're in that process of that. Issue 1 is wrote, and the artwork has already been started, and we're going forward. We're pushing forward with that.
Excellent. I will definitely be looking forward to that one. I'll have to get some more information from you on about some of that afterwards as well, because I actually have a special Halloween show that I'll be doing on Halloween night to do something a little bit different. My guest that's going to be on there is actually going to be Christy Fott. David Fott passed away last year. Actually, it was the beginning of this year. Time is just weird for me right now, but it was recently, and he was like a brother to me basically. And so I want to do a tribute show, and he would have wanted Halloween to be the tribute show, but it's going to be all about things that scare you, things that are just unique and different. I don't want the cookie cutter stuff, and you definitely don't have the cookie cutter stuff.
And I don't even know how that happened. Honestly, I just kind of with the people that I've met, the books that I started writing, and and it's just kind of I don't want to say I fell into a category, because I really don't, because we've talked about other stuff that I'm working on, and it's completely nowhere near where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy this. I do think some of the darker stuff has been forgotten about, especially with comics. You don't hear some of my that's why I'm huge. I really do enjoy the new DC stuff with the zombies and stuff like that, because it's different than what they're normally doing.
Right.
And I think I think Marvel and other companies have really shied away from that to appease everybody with the movies, because we got to stay movie relevant. And this whole niche of the gritty stuff has just been lost.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And that's why things like with Dark Horse, whenever they were running their stuff, there was a reason they were called Dark Horse whenever it was there.
Mhm.
And they're towards the end, they kind of lost that feeling. It was more like it's just a label at that point. It wasn't actually a pulse to the actual, publication that was there. It was just a label. And I didn't care for that much. I like whenever it's more of, if it was Dark Horse, if you opened it up, you're like, oh yeah, the soul is black again. I feel alive.
Yes, yes. And it just like, I don't know what happened. Like, it's really weird because this will digress into a whole other conversation because I just think it happened in a lot of things, like, especially with like the horror genre just in general.
Mhm.
Like, out of nowhere, we became, especially in America, it became extremely stale because I can bring up Tarzan movies from Japan that people probably have never heard of, and
Mhm.
they probably shouldn't hear of. Like, I'm gonna be 100 with you. If you look these up, you gotta have some strong stomachs, and
Oh yeah.
like, but it's just like stuff like that, especially with the way they approach psychology, and that's really like when I sat down and started writing Hellplayer, Mora, and other things that I'm writing. I really fall back on that because I just think that aspect of movies and the horror genre, everybody became so much about the shock factor.
Right.
People forgot about movies that were really powerful, like Donnie Darko, The Butterfly Effect,
Yes.
like Seven. Like, these movies are extremely powerful and they're not overly gory,
Right.
but they're horror. But that is a true horror film. Like Donnie Darko, I remember the first time I watched it, I sat back and was kind of like looking around, like, wait a minute here. And then
Yep.
I did like a trio. I went like Donnie Darko, Butterfly Effect, and then I watched Seven. And you really just kind of sit back and you're just kind of looking around the room like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I completely agree. I cannot. Yeah, absolutely. Because that is one thing that I will say about your work that I've seen thus far is that you brought up about, with Japan having the grittier version of the movies and everything. Perfect example. The Grudge scared the crap out of quite a few people in the U.S. If you think that's scary, go watch
watch it.
Ju-On.
Yep.
If you watch
Yeah.
Ju-On, you will never own a home with an attic. I swear.
No. Like, I have like a finished. In our home, we have a finished attic, and it was our bedroom at one. It was our bedroom when we first moved in,
Oh,
and there's a little cubby hole. Like, I
oh,
like my girl thought it was hilarious. I'm a big guy, like, and I walk around like, you guys see the mask and everything. I bolted. I actually drilled and bolted that thing shut. Like, it was just mentally because you come up the stairs, it's right there. Like, no, I can't do this. Um, but it's just like movies like they're not even like overly gory, but the psychology in them was like Wishing Court or Heirloom. Like, they got so many movies I could bring up from over there.
oh yeah.
Like everyone, like, I think it's hilarious. I'm waiting for it to be translated over here because of Squid Games. If you've ever seen the original Suicide Club,
Yes.
like stuff like that, like, wow, like like where did we lose this? Like, somehow we went slasher and then we went into gore, and Japan was like, no, we're just gonna completely rape you mentally.
Yes, exactly. It's the mind one over that they put on you to the point where you're like looking over your shoulder going, did I hear something? What was that? No, I saw something move. I've never seen something move over there before. It just throws you in a whole whirlwind of that. And to be able to translate that from the big screen to something that's as small as a comic in front of you, that's pretty impressive.
Again, thank you. Like, I could go on. I am my own worst critic. I am. If you got to know me, you would know that I think it's hilarious that you're telling me that it's good. Like that, and that's not nothing against nobody that likes my work. I am so thankful for all of you guys. I am just super critical of myself.
Oh, and that's fine. I mean, because it's a double-edged sword. You can, and it's good to be and not to be, as long as you don't overdo it to the point where you just, someone comes to your table and they're like, man, what do you got? And you're like, oh, just don't even look at it. It's not that good. Just walk away.
So if you guys come to a time like if I can plug it, we're gonna be at the, because I don't know if this is coming out today or if this is coming out later.
Yep.
But we are gonna be at the Cleveland Gaming Classic, September 24th. It's a Saturday. And when you guys come, I have a special guest at my table who's the carrot. It's the best average gamer, Reggie Veggie. Reggie is pretty much my little brother. He's my business partner and everything. And I did my first table at North Coast Nostalgia when I first set up ever at a comic shop. in the mask, everything. And now I'm a big guy. I'm intimidating. I know I am because of my size. Like, I'm not saying like I look mean or nothing. I'm just a big guy.
Right.
And I have this mask on. I'm sitting there. He walked in. He just looked at me and goes, dude, stop eating people with your eyes. I'm like, what? And then was the whole development of the green guy character, because me and him are a perfect dynamic. Like, he will bring out, like, we literally just sit at our tables and clown. Like, we are the table that's sitting there that people are looking at, like, can you guys turn the music down? Like, there's nothing going on, but we're sitting there having a good time. Like, and that's just kind of what we do. And we've met some great people. Like, I know this year you said you're where you are from. If you can get up to Columbus in November, we're gonna be at Tour Gaming Expo again. This is gonna be our second year there, and the people around us, we end up if they're willing to be, we include them in our shenanigans, like, because you're at a con. Like, I'm probably the weirdest person at a show because I don't like sitting behind my table. I'd rather be in front of my table. Exactly. And if you guys walk by and you guys see us and you're kind of looking, I will look. My comment saying is, do you like horror films? That is how I start off the conversation. Like, if you tell me you don't like horror films, I know you're not my audience.
Oh yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's what you have to do, is kind of draw them in, but you draw them in with something else besides what you're actually producing out there, so it gets that interaction going. So it's a great way to start the sales process on that.
Oh yeah, and like I said, with the content creation, like Saturday we're at the IX Center. We're going live on TikTok. Probably most of the show. We'll be live on Facebook for a little bit. And like I said, come play my boy in like, he's setting up his entire stream. Like, we're streaming Brawlhalla from the show.
Oh,
like, if you can, you're going to be playing him. Like, you get a shout out on his channel, on Twitch and everything. And it's just different. Like, we're trying to figure out some different aspects in that area, because multimedia is so huge right now. And I want to say this, guys, I am not an artist. I do not draw. I am the writer and the creator. And I know that's blowing people's minds, because you don't ever hear about a writer or a creator saying, hey, I got a table. I'm weird like that. It's my book. I have to be the one to sell it. That's just kind of how I look at it.
Right.
And and in that aspect, I've had to develop a different way, because everybody that goes to shows, they want to talk to the artist. They want to buy the art. They want to get sketches done. You don't want me writing you a paragraph or a short story. So we've just figured out different ways to have. And again, when we first talked, I probably told you the same thing. If I'm not having fun with it, it's not worth it to me.
Exactly.
And that's just kind of how I feel. So we just developed a way to have fun.
And that's the best way to look at it. And you're talking about, you don't want to, people don't want you to actually write them a paragraph or something there whenever they're there. But if you attach a free 10-minute session to your first psychiatric therapy session, you could do that and put that on there, and then it'd be a great piece that you could sell that left and right.
If I have a psychologist walk to my table and tell me he's actually a shrink, I'm shutting down my table and going home. like for real. Like, do not come to my table and try to psychoanalyze us, because we will leave you confused. Literally, we are sitting there just like we just have fun with it. Like, I've had some of these strangest people and oddest things, and I've only done like a table for a year. I'm 3 years into this now, and during COVID and the year before, at the end of the year before that, we started going out and doing tables, and I've already met some of the most interesting people that I've ever met. At one show, we had a lady, we're talking or whatever, me and her are just randomly talking. Reggie walked up and she goes, "Hi, I'm a dominatrix." And you walked up to the guy with the spiked mask to tell him this. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Do you want a comic book?
There you go.
But I mean, that's just life, man. Like, we got so much in the works. We do. We're going to be broadcast. We're going to be doing a new YouTube show based on the comic book upcoming. I'm throwing darts at the dartboard.
Nice. But sometimes that's what you have to do, because you have to see what sticks. Because sometimes what other people are like, okay, this is exactly what you need to do, or you see other people doing something and it works for them, and you try it and it fails, that doesn't necessarily mean stop doing everything that you're doing and just say, I never should have been doing this in the first place. It just means it doesn't work for you. So to actually throw more darts at a dartboard, hey, good on you, because that's the way you want to do it, to see what's sticking.
It's just the evolution, man. Like, even when we have a setback and stuff, you just got to take that and evolve with it. Like, and that's the one thing I've learned this year. Like we were talking before, it's just been one of those years. Like, we had a huge setback at the beginning of the year. We don't really need to get into that. But it's taught me that we just got to, it showed me a way to evolve.
Yep.
And the evolution is like going, like, and that's the one thing that I really want to say. Like, even though I'm writing a horror book, like, look us up on YouTube. Look up Lost Hope Entertainment. Like, I have a show called Chronicle that was literally based on people living their best lives. Weird to say that the guy that I still wear the mask. That was the best part of all. And, but it's all about positivity.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that show ended up ending during COVID, but we're gonna bring it back and evolve it into something new. I can't reveal the name yet. And then I got another show with another buddy who just was random. Like, and that's the whole thing. Like, I really, 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 out of everything, just wish people would take that. Like, I'm 38 years old. Like I said, I'm 3 years in. I started this when I was 35. Fire your shot. Like, that's the best advice. Like, everybody always like, oh, how'd you get in this? I fired a shot.
Exactly.
And just take that away. Like, it's really cool looking at my nephews because they're younger and they're like, hey, they got my comic on their wall. Granted, my sister, thankfully my sister won't read it to them, but they know that's their uncle that did that. And it could be anything. Like, and it's really weird because, like you said, we talked about how all this stuff with horror and psychology and everything, but it's really just about positivity with me. Like, just do it.
Yes.
And that's the one thing. If you're out there and you want to draw, you want to write, get a hold of me. Like, I am all about, like, I think we talked about that when I was on here last time, just helping people. Like, the industry right now is built for the indies.
Yes.
And it still is. Like, COVID changed the game, like, even more. Like, even going into COVID, Marvel and DC, Image, and all of them, they were falling.
Yeah.
And like we just talked about earlier, they're too garnered for the cinema.
Yep.
Like, fire your shot. This is the time. Like, just take a chance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I could not agree more on that. And you mentioned earlier, you keep talking about evolution. I want to go ahead and bring up, this is the first question I want to ask you that's kind of off of the regular here. Off of evolution, who is your favorite X-Men?
Wow.
Oh, I like
Archangel.
questions. What was that?
Archangel.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, you got to tell me why, because I got to get an explanation on that.
X-Force, Uncanny X-Force, led by Wolverine. When they turned him pretty much into the Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
I was already an Archangel fan, and at that time, my favorite character was Gambit. But seeing the evolution and, like, that they did that, like, one of the scenes that stick out of my head is when he lost control. They were fighting somebody. Archangel turns into Archangel. The seal wings and all that come out. He's wiping out everybody, including the X-Force, and Wolverine stabs him. And he looks down and goes, "Logan, did you just stab me?" And I think that the way that they played that, especially with the Dark Angel saga that ended up coming out with that,
yes,
and just that, like you said, the evolution of, like, his psychology. Again, of course, it was the psychology behind him, especially with the relationship with Psylocke.
There you go.
And I think that I'm not huge on the way that they ended that, because, seeing him in the church with all his different personalities and stuff, I still to this day think that could be played with way better.
Oh yeah.
And I really wish they would, but don't get me wrong, Hickman's writing is good. I do enjoy the new X-Men stuff, but I think Uncanny X-Force under Wolverine was a huge waste. They dropped the ball so big on that.
Yep.
And yeah, like, Avengers vs. X-Men there should have been a third part of that. X-Force should have been in there. Especially if you read those books. Like, I was huge on those books. The way those teams were set up, that Wolverine, at the click of a finger, they would go to him.
Yep.
Especially when Cap kicked him out the plane. Like, I when I saw that in that issue, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna call X-Force. And he never did.
Yep.
I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
So, okay, so if you want to hit me with that one, I'm gonna hit you with one then.
Go ahead.
Who's your favorite villain?
Ooh, so many factors involved in that, but I got to go with the number one on here just simply because he's got a little bit of everything is Doctor Doom.
Okay, that was my number 2.
He's I don't know. Doctor Doom has just got everybody thinks that he's just, he's either technical or he's mystical or he's, this, that, and the other. No, he's not or. He is he is all of it mixed in. He's got all of the brain power, plus the technological advancements, the mystical, everything all rolled into one, along with a devious mind who thinks he's doing everything for good.
Mm-hmm.
That's the messed up part is he thinks he's right. That's what makes him almost the perfect villain for me, is that he's so powerful that a lot of times he's doing for Latveria, he thinks he's doing it just for them and only for them, and it doesn't matter what it hurts anybody else. He could destroy the entire plane of existence as long as Latveria stood there, and he'd be okay. That's where his mindset is, and that to me just puts him right up there.
Okay. Like I said, that was my number 2. Mine's the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh yeah, nice one.
Again, the psychology, and you've probably seen me post it on Facebook and stuff. I am not a Batman fan at all.
Right.
I'm not going to say why. I don't need to get the Bat fans, and because I know how bad you guys can be and how you guys get kind of angry really easily. I just think we haven't seen a character develop like that in our generation. Like all the characters, like you're saying, Doctor Doom, Archangel, like all these guys were before us. Like we inherited them from our fathers, you could say. The Batman Who Laughs, he falls into that weird category that it was someone created for this generation that fit. And I think he's a perfect reflection of this generation.
Yep.
And then you just add the Dark Knight, of course, me being a heavy metal fan and stuff, you had the Dark Knight's metal. I just thought it was a well-wrote story, but him alone, I think, outside of death metal, I think it was done well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now that kind of is a perfect segue into my next question I was going to ask is, it doesn't have to be the number one, but one of your favorite bands.
I'm going to go with an odd one, and I don't know if you'll know because I've been a fan of them for so long, but there's 2. I'm going to say Mushroomhead.
Okay.
I'm from Cleveland. It's kind of synonymous with us here.
Right.
And then Duran Gray from Japan.
Not familiar with them, but okay.
Duran Gray is pretty much like, how you have Lorna Shore and stuff like that they were doing that for the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, if you get a chance, look up, it's really weird because it's one of the only videos I know that actually got banned in Japan was by them.
Okay.
Even on Facebook, you got to show that you're 18 or 21 to watch the uncut version. But it's called Obscure.
Okay.
Keel, even if you just look up Keel's voice, some of their live stuff, the dude is amazing. The demon growls, the dude could sing, he could do it all.
Nice.
And those would probably be my top out of my top 5. The 2 I would say right off the top.
Excellent. That sounds pretty cool with that. Now I will say, you mentioned earlier about not upsetting the Batman fans that are out there. I want to go ahead and bring up, because you're going to be at the con tomorrow. You definitely want to tread lightly with that, because you don't want 50 to 100 of these guys showing up at your table, sitting there looking over there going, "Where is he?"
I got a guy called the Green Guy that every time I do a show, he pops up and asks me, "Where is Maria?" And I try the Green. You guys don't understand the Green Guy, man. This dude, I get that I created a character in the comic book called the Green Guy. I don't know if it's actually him from the comic book because he looks identical to this dude, and he just kind of pops up and goes, "Where's Maria? Where's Maria, Tim?" This dude actually we were at a show last year. He showed up in an Uber and had me pay for it. The dude ran to my table, sat down, and goes, "Yeah, you can pay for my Uber." Well, what are you talking about, bro? Seriously, y'all don't understand it. So Batman fans, I'm not worried about. I will give them my honest opinion of Batman, and they will literally just go online and just roast me. And that's okay because that's just more publicity.
There you go. There you go. Now I got to ask, because I've been to some cons. I've seen some people out there. I've seen people go to some of the tables. I've seen some of the creators at the tables who are just in awe of who's standing in front of them. Who's one of the people that stands out most in your mind that you've had stand in front of you that's in the celebrity class status that was in front of your table?
I actually haven't had one.
What?
Like, I really haven't. Like, for me, like last year, I got to meeting Sean Forney was really cool. It threw me off even more that he knew who I was, even without the mask on. If he sees this, thank you. You were great. I appreciate. Like, we've talked before. I invited, for stuff that I'm doing next year. We've already been talking a little bit. But yeah, him, Chris Ena, I got to meet him. Chris knows who I am.
Yep.
Those kind of threw me off because I collect their work, especially with Chris. I'm a huge fan of his work. But yeah, I haven't had somebody walk up to my table yet. I know that there's certain people that if they do, there's two people in particular, like I know my fanboyism will come out, and that's Bruce Campbell and Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah.
But that goes back to the conversation we had last time I was on why, especially with Kevin Smith, there's a real personal reason for that one.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I haven't had somebody walk up to the table yet.
Well, I'm letting you know right now, anybody who's watching this, go over there, approach, let them know that you're there. Tell them the demon sent you, whatever you got to do. Just get over there, have some fun with these guys, talk to them. They sound like they'd be a blast to actually just stand in front of and talk to. Most of the people that I have discussed things with online and everything has never gone any further than that as of yet. We're going to be changing that hopefully very soon, that I can actually meet you in person and we can chat and everything. But they need to come up there and just see you as a personable type and have a conversation with you. And
Yes.
I'll go ahead and put it out there right now, just because you're wearing the mask that you are right now and everything, it doesn't need to be just the dominatrices that is stop over there and see you.
I've had people with the one con, we had a 35-minute conversation about sword collecting.
Nice.
Like the dude didn't even buy a comic book. I don't even know how we got on the conversation of swords, and because it's something I do collect, and he just walked away. I'm just like, okay. But yeah, you actually got me thinking about that now. Like, I know, like I said, we've had some weird people walk up to the table, and don't think that I'm saying weird is bad, because I'm probably the weirdest person you're ever gonna meet. Dude wears a skull mask and talks positivity. Come on, guys. But yeah, I mean, we just I haven't had somebody walk up. Like, I know, like I've seen the pictures of like people that I know, like Adam Fields and Richard Jones. They've had people walk up to their tables and stuff. But again, I think it's because I'm the writer. I think that really throws the dynamic off a little bit, because again, people just see me with the comic books, and once they find out I'm not the artist, I gotta draw them in with other stuff. If that makes sense.
It does. Unfortunately, I mean, like you said, it's not, and of course, I'm not saying anything negative to the artist by any means.
No,
but if you're
never.
a creator who has spent the money, set up your table and everything, and set up there and everything, at least if you're going to walk by, spend some time getting to know the people who are there. They don't expect you to buy everything at the convention, but at least give them that peace of mind knowing that the money they put into the con at least goes towards conversation.
Yes.
I cannot express how important that is, that if you just walk by and never say anything, it's almost like you're just kind of like dismissing that they've ever done anything in the industry, even though you haven't had a conversation. Again, you don't have to purchase everything at the con. There's some things for everybody out there. Sometimes people just go out there just to, to window look or whatever. That's fine. There's no judgment there. But if you go by, just as you see people like Tim sitting over here, and he's sitting at the table and he's jamming or whatever, tell him, hey, great choice in music, or, where can I get one of those masks? Yes. Whatever you got to do to get the conversation going, at least have a conversation. I swear, I don't think he bites. I'm not going to put, the demon seal of approval on that statement, but,
I don't
legally,
know.
Yeah, well, legally I have to cover myself. So, just in case.
But with what you're saying, like that was my first experience at a show, and that was probably the worst half hour ever. Because first time ever set up at a show, I'm not even going to say the show because I'm more than grateful I'll be back there next year. We sat there for a half hour, and you just kind of we were first table at a show at a con, so we're kind of in awe and everything. But when it kind of sat back and watching the doors open and everybody just walking by us and walking by us and walking by us, and I felt like I was almost like I could say it was like feeling like you were surrounded by piranhas. Because you see everybody looking at you, and you take, it took a half hour for that first person to stop, and then everybody started coming. But that first half hour just sitting there talking to nobody, like, I can tell you guys, if you see an artist, a writer, whatever at a table and they look bored, walk up and stop. Just walk up and say hi.
Mm-hmm.
That will stop everything for them, and they will be extremely grateful. And I can tell you this from personal experience, like, just saying hi means the world to us.
Exactly.
Like, you don't even got to buy anything. Like, you don't even got to accept the business card I'm going to hand you, or pick one up. Like, no, just having that conversation just to break up the monotony of just silence.
Exactly. Now, one last question that I want to ask, and this is kind of dealing with the con that you're going to tomorrow. We kind of touched on what's going to be happening there with the games. So, one of your top video games of all time.
Oh, Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that was quick.
I am 100% obsessed with Assassin's Creed, to the point where, like, comic books, novels, I've read them all.
Nice. So you're excited about the new version that's coming out, the Feudal Japan, I believe is the one?
I'm excited about the one from Japan. I think they could have left the one with I can never pronounce it right. Bazo?
Yeah.
The continuation of Valhalla. I think we could have done without that one. Yeah, I think they should have focused on Japan more. I think trying to put out 3 different games like that is gonna, especially with 3 different versions, because they're saying the one with Basso is going to be extremely linear, almost in the old style of Assassin's Creed 1, which, if you're just going to do that, just give me Altair. Like, let's just give me a remake of that. Let me go hunt the Templars. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just go back to that.
Exactly.
The one in Japan, I think, would be really cool because it ties into the novel for dealing with Ezio and how he passed. Like, when you actually get to find out how he died. Because in the book, the night before he dies, he meets an assassin who's on the run. And she's from Japan. And she goes, "Hey, can you train me?" He goes, "No, I'm retired." I think that could be like a cool little Easter egg if you tie that in, like, somewhere in the story.
Exactly.
So, but yeah. There's that. Like, currently, right now, we're streaming a lot of Fortnite, because with the no build, we got back on that. Me and my buddies, it's me, my girl, and my buddy Reg. And then I'm also big on that game, The Rock of Blade Point, if you've played that yet.
I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, it's just the same idea as like Fortnite, but with swords and nunchucks and spears, and so that, yeah, understandably with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So
nice. Very cool. Now, last thing I want to go ahead and ask, and this is going to kind of tie into the closing on this, is are you open to doing other work with other people, that you're doing commission work type thing, or you're working with other people, or are you strictly doing your own brands there? What are you working on?
So I'm currently working on, like I said, I got Hell Player, we got Mora. I'm currently working on a book for a wrestling company that's coming out of Euclid, Ohio, up here in Cleveland. Extreme Fight World, that's coming out, which is going to be something new. I am extremely open to write anything. Like, I want to expand, and one of my favorite things growing up was always write. I was that guy that always wanted to group write. I do have a list of people in my head that I would love to one day work with. There are some connections that I could probably do later on. I just feel like I got to get my name out there a little bit more to approach some of these people, but no, if somebody wants to write, I am down for helping, mentoring, ghostwriting, all that. Like, I just want to write. I enjoy creating. Literally, I enjoy creating. Like, I have my own books. Like, I have so many things that I could be putting out right now. I just enjoy, like, literally enjoy. I'm that D&D guy. I'm that D&D guy that walks in with like the 5 notebooks of like 200 characters. And like I don't even play D&D, but I'll create characters just because I'm bored.
Right.
So yeah, definitely. If anybody wants a writer, and I'm open to any genre. Like, I know I seem like I stick to horror, and I do enjoy it, but like I said, I got a wrestling book coming out. I want to do at some point, I really do want to do a sci-fi book. I think a sci-fi book would be so much fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. It sounds like to kind of get your foot in the door, if you get in on some couple of anthologies, and at least get your name out there with 4-page or 6-page, whatever they're doing in their type deal with anthology, and be able to do that. It sounds like something to be right down your alley.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that one too. I've also been honestly thinking about doing some. I might be submitting some stuff to some of the bigger companies too.
Nice, very nice. Well, you definitely deserve it. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, the stuff that I've seen so far, has gotten my attention. You've gotten my attention with even more that we talked about just today. That hopefully I'll be able to. I'm gonna get with you afterwards and we're gonna figure out a way that I can get my hands on some of this stuff too.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
but you've definitely got a lot going on. I got to ask you before we go ahead and close out this portion of it here is what does the future hold for you moving into 2023? What, I mean, that you can talk about, of course.
2023 is about to be insane. I'll give we already announced the name of it. I am hosting my own con in Euclid, Ohio, called Collectors Con. That's a big thing for me right there. More books coming out, like the wrestling book, more Hellplayer 4, possibly 5 next year. And like I said, just really sitting down and sitting back with my team and really looking at what we're doing and where we're at. Like, I really want to move more into like getting more merchandise out.
Yes.
So, especially with like owning my own company now, like we're developing a lot of that. We're working with a lot of local people, and yeah, like that's really where I'm at right now. Like moving forward, like it's to grow the brand. That's the best way I can put it. Like I want to grow my brand,
Exactly.
and so yeah, that's kind of where it is. Like we're gonna be traveling a lot though. Like a lot of the shows that I didn't get to go to this year, we're gonna be at. Like even if we don't have a table, I'm going back to my old style of selling. Like I'm an old band geek. We used to do stuff. You walk around, foot to pavement, and hand out CDs.
Yep.
I sold I was known in Cleveland as the guy selling comic books out of his book bag. So we'll be definitely going like the Seal. I want to go to Seal Valley next year. Memphis, Chicago, C2E2, stuff like that I've never been to. Like we're really going to be hitting a lot of the major shows, even as guests.
Nice. Very nice. Well, Tim, it has been my honor having you on here tonight and being able to chat with you about all this kind of stuff that you got going on currently, the future, and talking about the passion that you have behind everything, and personally, you know, who you are behind the mask, which is a big thing because a lot of people don't know who you are behind the mask, literally. But I would love to have you on again as a repeat guest if you'd be interested later on as well. Uh, Definitely want to get you back on and talk some more and pick your brain on some other topics of interest as well.
Oh, definitely. Just let me know. I'm as long as I can schedule it with work, I'm down. Like, and that's a really weird thing about it. I do all this with a full-time job.
Excellent. That
Like,
speaks volumes right there because everybody's kind of looking over here going, well, he's got all this time to write, doesn't he? And it's kind of like, he's still got a full-time job and he does all of this. So
yes,
it's a juggle, but it's worth it.
it is so worth it. And again, like I said, we talked about earlier, just if you guys take away anything from what I'm saying, take your shot. I could give you guys 1,000 stories, and we could be talking for a few more hours about how random shots for me have worked. Because the worst that someone's going to tell you is no.
Oh yeah.
And you just keep going. So just fire that shot, man.
Nice. Well, again, thank you for being here, Tim. I'm going to go ahead and drop you backstage. If you want to hang out for just a moment, I'm going to do my closing statements, and then I'll be up there as soon as the outro is done.
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you, man.
All right. Let me go ahead and take this off here so I can breathe a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay. It looks like I got something coming out of my neck now, which is kind of cool. If you're just stepping in right now and seeing this at the end, you're like, what is wrong with him? So Tim Ingram on the show. We had a great show talking to him, getting to know him a little bit more, getting to know who is behind the mask. This is something that I do with my shows. This is something that it shows that I actually do my research into who I have on here and try to make a personal connection. Now, that being said, we want to talk about what the end of this always is, which I always have my closing statements. It's always about the guest. It's always about something that sums up what happens on here. And tonight's not going to be any different with that. And tonight's one word that sums us up is evolution. That's the one word that really stuck with me throughout all this. What I mean by that is there are a lot of steps that you take to get to where you are. There's a lot of steps that you get there. You're excited. You're making forward movement. You're getting up to that point. And then something happens where you drop down a few. Well, the thing about evolution is you have a choice at that point. You can either stay where you are and continue falling, or you can crawl even higher and continue that evolution in a different form. Whenever we were talking about, throwing darts at a dartboard, that continues your evolution. All you got to do is try something different. And if something doesn't stick, you simply throw another and another and another until that evolution starts getting you that forward motion again, and you keep going with it. There is no guarantee that anyone in any aspect of life, not just in this industry, but in life in general, is going to get to a certain point in their life and have that guaranteed for them. There's always going to be that struggle. The day you quit struggling is the day you stop caring. I cannot stress that enough. So evolution is a huge part that if you don't make that decision at the right time, you'll continually fall and nothing will ever move forward. So keep that in mind. So until next time, we're going to have some more fun on this show with some more great guests that are coming up and all. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Please, please, please leave a like, leave comments out there, share this out to everyone else out there so that more people can see this, and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of these shows as they're coming out. Look forward to seeing y'all here for the next ones. And by all means, keep it indie, y'all.
Flip the switch and watch them run.
She-Hulk made it look easy. Look at that. Give a little bit of that. Give a little bit of that. Oh, yeah. A little more. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, there it is. Oh, back it up. Back it up. Back. Let's see. I say live. No habla.